Well, 1 and 2 were pretty easy. They were just dealing with polynomials. Number 3 is a little bit more difficult. Our original function is a rational function. We want to find the derivative of f at 4. So that's going to be the limit as h approaches 0 of f of 4 plus h minus f of 4 all over h. So remember, 4 plus h is inside the parentheses here, so function notation dictates that we'll take that and plug it in for plug it in for x. So we get limit as h approaches 0 of 1 over 4 plus h plus 2, right? Where the 4 plus h is taking the place of this x. Minus f of 4, we're putting 4 in the place of x, so we get 1 over 4 plus 2, and that's all over h. So we can do a little simplifying there. We get 1 over h plus 6 minus 1/6 all over h. Now this looks like a problem we've done last chapter, last section. We are trying to find this limit. If we put 0 in, we get 0 over 0. We need to try and do something to fix that. So in this case, we have the little fractions in the big fraction. We're going to multiply by the lowest common denominator. So here, our lowest common denominator is 6 times h plus 6. And what this is going to do is get rid of our little fractions in the big fraction. So we're going to distribute that to both of these. So this first one, we get 6 times h plus 6 all over h plus 6. The h plus 6's are going to cancel out, and we're left with a 6 for this first portion. Minus, when we take this whole thing times the 1/6, the 6's cancel out, and all we're left with is the h plus 6. We need to keep the parenthesis around the h plus 6 because that's being subtracted, the whole thing. On the bottom, we're left with a 6 times h plus 6. Sorry, we forgot about this h here. So it's 6h times h plus 6. Now here's a place where a lot of people make a mistake and start to try and cancel things out. They think cancel the 6's, cancel h plus 6's. Cannot do that. Remember, everything has to be factored, combined like terms, and then factored before we can cancel anything out. So before we start crossing anything out, let's simplify this a little bit further. Limit as h approaches 0. We distribute that minus, we get a negative h. 6 minus 6 gives us 0. So all we're left with on top is a negative or h, or opposite of h. We can cancel that h out with the one on the bottom. So we're left with limit as h approaches 0 of negative 1 over 6 times h plus 6. Now we can use direct substitution because that h in the denominator has been canceled. So if we put 0 in here, we get negative 1 over 36.